tear down my channel, but I think I'm actually going to give it to Richie from Boston.
What a name, huh? What a name. That's like Ebenezer or what, you know, at any rate.
Because not only is he an awesome truther, he's got a lot of people following him, and I think the more people that know this, the better.
I'm shocked I haven't lost my channel, but whatever. But I put it up anyways.
There's no money, there's no possessions, only obsession. I don't need that shit.
Do you know what pisses the trolls off? You know why they have to pull nonsensical bullshit out of their asses? Because I've always been up front. It's amazing to me. And yes, the bigger you get and the closer you get, when you're right over the target, you're going to get flack. Look at who's saying it. Are they saying it out of jealousy, spite, whatever? Why would they talk about how many subscribers? Because they don't have them? You know why? Because you suck. You got no talent. You know why? I'm an asshole with a laptop. But you know what? God woke me up. And you know what? I have no clue how, but there's no denying it. For whatever reason, I brought so many people back to Jesus. It's got to be worth something. Now, I mentioned to walk away from Facebook over a year ago, and then again in January of 2018. And of course, trolls figured out a different reason why I did it, but I've been telling you about this for a long time. A long, long time. These guys finally coming out and saying that they're destroying the social fabric of the universe. Well, they knew this. They knew this all along, because that's what this is. That's what this is. And the copyright date, or the publishing date of 2006 is old. This study went back far further than this. But it's not a conspiracy theory. Just FYI. And finally, for over 2 years, I've been blathering about D-Wave and Cern and what their actual intentions are. And of course, people just don't believe it, because number one, you need to have a belief in a higher power, in God, in creation. And we live in a science and technology place right now, and people just don't want to believe that. Well, oddly enough, this year, the actual inventor and money guy behind D-Wave, as well as the technical guy behind D-Wave, explained exactly what it is, and people still don't understand it. How much more evidence of all these claims do you need? Or are you just one of those people that are never, ever going to get it? Time's almost up. You can't tell me that you're looking around and this is a better place than it used to be. Did all this technology bring us together like they claimed it would, or is it pushed people apart further? That's an easy one. Drive down the street. Walk through a mall. Go to a game. People are more worried about taking pictures and selfies of themselves than anything else, and then that's all there is to it. This machine is the machine they will use when Cern, the Large Hadron Collider, finally tears a hole in the fabric of the universe. D-Wave's job will be to stabilize that hole so they'll have a two-way tunnel from the other side. Period. Don't believe me? Well, listen to the guy that paid for this machine. But this video is going to be able to prove to anyone that you know exactly what these guys are doing with their own word. A lot of people think that Geordie Rose is the inventor of the D-Wave. Geordie Rose is the money man behind D-Wave. This guy, for the most part, is one of the brainchilds.
I have heard this word quantum computing. It's often, people have the misconception that it's some kind of newfangled supercomputer. It's decidedly not that. Quantum computers allow us to access hidden features of nature, new dimensions, and if we can access these sort of hidden dimensions at scale, we could have unimaginable computing power.
Imagine that was true for every single job. So that's what we're talking about here, is a complete and utter transformative change that of the likes of which has never been seen before in the history of humanity, making the Industrial Revolution look like a little tiny blip on the path that humans have taken from when we emerged from the ooze a few billion years ago. We are right on the verge of that transition now. So this guy, Rich Sutton, is one of the most famous people in the academic world of AI.
Now listen. This guy is the guy behind the D-Wave quantum computer, the only quantum computer in the world that is accessing other dimensions, according to what they are telling us. He is telling us that we are on the verge right now. So pay attention, because what he is going to say should shape your entire future.
And like many, when asked, when will this happen, he says things like this. 25% chance within 13 years of this thing that I'm talking about. You know, when you think about what you read on the news, you know, CNN, BuzzFeed, whatever, they're all kind of the same nowadays. Think about how unimportant that thing is that you're reading if this is true.
Now, it's funny because how often do I tell you that politics, sports, the news, these are simply things to keep people distracted, and it works perfectly because only a small group of us actually pay attention to what this guy's saying. There's some people that are with him that want to be on the cutting edge of technology that don't have God in them and don't understand the ramifications behind what it is he's actually saying. Some people with the eyes to see and the ears to hear do understand what he's saying, and he's not mincing words.
Yeah? So what does this have to do with aliens? So Sam Harris, who I quite admire, is a very interesting guy, was reciting this parable at a TED Talk that he was giving, and it goes something like this. So, I am, say I'm the President of the United States. So I received this message from the heavens. So my microwave dish, my SETI dish, finally captures something. And what it says is, in 50 years, or 13 years, we're coming to your planet. You gotta be ready. Now just imagine what would happen if that happened. A super intelligent alien race beamed down a message to all of us Earthlings saying, we're coming July 13th, 2030, and boy, you better be ready because the mothership is landing right on the front lawn of the White House or wherever you wanted to land on that day. The amount of resources that would be marshaled to try to figure out what to do would encompass the whole world. AI is just like that. So when this thing that I'm talking about happens, it's going to be exactly the thing that you're thinking about those super intelligent AIs. So the one thing I can tell you is they're not going to be like us. So alien means, you know, different. These things that we're building are not going to be people. They might be really smart, they might be really good at all sorts of different things, but they're not going to be like us. They're going to be aliens. And they're going to be, I'm sorry to say, way smarter than every single person in this room in ways that we can't even comprehend. So this, of course, triggers a lot of alarm. One of the guys who talks about this is Elon, who says things like this, like, when you do this, beware. Because you think, just like the guy in the stories, that when you do this, you're going to put that little guy in a pentagram, and you're going to have your holy water out, and you're going to wave it at the thing, and by God, it's going to do exactly what you say, and not one thing more, but it never works out that way. So this is an attitude that some are having, this emerging alarmism about the way this is going to go. But these words, demons, doesn't capture the essence of what's happening here. I don't know if any of you are turn-of-the-century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft, who's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he espoused a view which is called cosmicism. And the essence of cosmicism is cosmic indifference. So what he was saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, But they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil. Same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention. This thing is happening in the background while people bicker about politics and what's going to be in the healthcare plan in the U.S. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out.
So you've just heard 3 major quote-unquote conspiracy theories that I've put forth over the last several years, and then you've just heard 3 confirmations in the last year from all the parties involved. So how much more do you need? If you're not there yet, I'm afraid to say you'll probably never get there. But this is your chance right now. They have to tell us their plans. Whether we hear it or not is another thing.